Okay, so this is from Marjorie.
Mhm.
And she said, Dr. Lisle, I was on a weighing and measuring program that I was very successful on. I have now been tracking, weighing, and measuring my calories, macros for 4 years, which has helped me maintain my 55-pound weight loss. What is your best advice for people who are now tracking, weighing, and measuring every single meal as not to exceed calories and hit their daily macros? It has very much helped me, but it has become such a chore. It's stressful to do it, but it's stressful to think about not doing it. Thanks for your insight. And I could have sworn that in the class she said that when she stops, she gains like 5 to 9 pounds, but I could be making that up.
Right. Well, let's talk about that. So, this is how I would look at that. In other words, the why would we weigh and measure? And the answer is there would be various reasons, but the most fundamental reason is that we fear that if we don't do that, we're going to gain weight. That is the fundamental reason. So notice that there was two things involved there. There's the fear of the gaining weight, and then there's the gaining of weight. So two different aspects of the problem. So the person is trying to get rid of the fear that they're going to gain weight, and they're also trying to get rid of the idea that they actually would gain weight. So that's what's happening there. Now, so there's an underlying hypothesis, and the hypothesis is that if I weigh and measure the food, this is going to be successful. But if I don't weigh and measure the food, then I'm not going to be successful. Okay. So therefore, if I don't weigh and measure the food, we get the anxiety that we may gain the weight, and then we may gain the weight. Okay. So when we have, so what we're living with, what we're living under is the anxiety. So the anxiety is an unpleasant, low-grade chronic fear that is sitting underneath this person's life, and that's leading them to this sort of, extra effort to try to stop it. Now, there's nothing in principle wrong with this. Okay, so so if you're willing to pay the price of the extra effort to try to keep that anxiety down, then okay. So this is, I've had people that wash their hands 20 times a day. It's like, okay, you're not a fanatical OCD person that's washing their hands nine times an hour, but you're washing your hands 20 times a day. It's not too big of a price to pay, but it's also not nothing. So I don't know how many times I wash my hands a day, 4, 5, 6, maybe. Yeah, so if it's 20, maybe it's not too unreasonable. So if you've got a routine and you're able to weigh and measure your food, and this has kept all this weight off of you for a long time, maybe it's not too onerous of a routine. And it doesn't sound like it probably is that onerous of a routine. However, you may want to be dispensed with that routine, which means we have to face the anxiety. Okay, and so what do we do? How do we get rid of anxiety? Well, the way we get rid of anxiety is to actually expose ourselves to the thing that we fear the most. That's how you get rid of the anxiety. So we would get rid of the anxiety by not weighing and measuring and seeing whether or not you gain weight. Okay. Okay. So, oh my God, I don't know that I could do that. Well, you could do it. Okay. So you could test it. So we could start out by testing it for a week. Okay. And so, well, I don't know. Yeah, my friend Dr. Laura Bruce might have you start out by just doing it for a day. I don't know what she would do. She's the master of anxiety problems. So it would be something like that. I mean, it might be 3 days. So you might go 3 days a week, and then the other 4 days you weigh and measure, and then the next week you do it 3 days, and then for 3 days you don't do that, then we weigh and measure for 4 days, and we just keep doing that like this. And 2 months from now, we find out if you've gained any weight. If the answer is no, then it's like, 3 days a week, I don't weigh and measure. But then that 4 seems to, settle the problem. Maybe now we're going to tip it over. We're going to do 4 days where we don't weigh and measure, and 3 days where we measure, and we're going to go to the next 2 months. And at the end of that 2 months, we're going to find out, what do you know? Still haven't gained any weight. Okay, well, what about 5 days? See where we're going. So this is known as graded exposure. So we would take this problem apart a little bit at a time, and we would have you find out from your actual living evidence whether or not your body can manage this problem without you grabbing around the throat and trying to control it, the way you are. So that's what I would suggest, that you do something like that. You might start out 2 days a week not weighing and measuring, and 5 where you weigh and measure. That might be a good place to start. Start wherever it is that you've got the ability to tolerate that anxiety. We begin there, and then we stepwise move ourselves towards the discovery of whether or not you can actually trust your hunger drive.